Welcome to The Hidden Void, where we unravel the mysteries of the human condition and explore the teachings of great minds who dared to question everything. Today we confront the profound philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, a thinker whose bold ideas disrupted traditions and reshaped the way we understand humanity, and illuminated the darker truths of existence. Prepare to step into the void of Nietzsche's thought, where morality, religion, and the meaning of life are turned upside down. Before we delve into Nietzsche's proclamation of the death of God, we must first understand one of his foundational ideas, the Apollonian and Dionysian duality. Nietzsche introduced this concept in his first major work, The Birth of Tragedy. It is a lens through which he viewed human culture, art, and the struggle of existence itself. The Apollonian represents order, structure, and reason. Named after the Greek god Apollo, it is the force that seeks harmony, clarity, and control in life. Think of the calm beauty of classical sculpture or the mathematical precision of a symphony. These are Apollonian creations, symbols of humanity's desire to impose order on chaos. The Dionysian, on the other hand, represents chaos, passion, and instinct. It is named after Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy, and it embodies the raw, untamed forces of life. The Dionysian is present in the wild, primal energy of dance, the intoxication of a festival, and the deep, irrational drives that fuel human creativity and destruction. Nietzsche believed that life is a constant tension between these two forces. The Apollonian seeks to suppress chaos and create stability, while the Dionysian celebrates the unpredictable, destructive, and creative energy of existence. In ancient Greek tragedy, Nietzsche found the perfect union of these forces. Tragedy embraced the chaos of human suffering while framing it within a structure that gave it meaning. For Nietzsche, this balance was not just an artistic ideal, but a model for how we might approach life itself. But Nietzsche saw a problem in the modern world. He believed that Western culture had become overly Apollonian, obsessed with order, rationality, and control. The wild, life-affirming energy of the Dionysian had been suppressed, leaving humanity spiritually impoverished. This imbalance set the stage for what Nietzsche would later call the death of God, the collapse of the old structures and values that once gave life meaning. Without the Dionysian spirit to reinvigorate us, Nietzsche feared humanity might spiral into nihilism, unable to find joy or purpose in a world stripped of its mysteries. And so the stage is set for Nietzsche's most provocative declaration, the death of God. Let us now explore what this means for a world caught in the tension between order and chaos. One of Nietzsche's most famous proclamations is that God is dead. But what does this mean? Nietzsche wasn't celebrating atheism as we might think. Instead, he was mourning the collapse of a belief system that had anchored humanity for centuries. With the rise of science and rationality, Nietzsche saw humanity abandoning religion, leaving us without a moral compass or a higher purpose. He warned that this vacuum could lead to nihilism, a state where life feels meaningless and values lose their significance. But Nietzsche didn't stop there. He believed the death of God was both a tragedy and an opportunity. Without divine authority dictating our morality, we have the chance to create our own values. Yet this freedom is terrifying. How do we navigate the abyss of meaninglessness? Imagine this: every moment of your life, every joy, every pain, every triumph, and every failure repeats endlessly for all eternity. This is Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence. It's not just a thought experiment, it's a challenge. Nietzsche asks us, if you knew your life would repeat forever, would you embrace it fully? This idea forces us to confront our choices and live in a way that we'd be willing to relive endlessly. For Nietzsche, the eternal recurrence isn't a curse, it's a call to affirm life in all its chaos and suffering. He believed that only by saying yes to every aspect of existence could we transcend our limitations and become something greater. In the face of nihilism, Nietzsche envisioned a new kind of human, the Übermensch or overman. This is not a superhuman in the physical sense, but a symbol of what humanity could become. The Übermensch creates their own values. independent of societal norms and religious doctrines. They embrace the chaos of life, turning suffering into strength and despair into creativity. But becoming an Übermensch is not easy. It requires rejecting comfort, facing one's deepest fears, and embracing life's darkest truths. Nietzsche believed that only by doing so could we rise above mediocrity and truly live authentically. Before we explore Nietzsche's concept of the will to power, we must first understand his profound critique of morality, a concept he dissected with surgical precision in his Genealogy of Morals. Nietzsche argued that human morality can be divided into two types: master morality and slave morality. Master morality originates from those who see themselves as creators of values. The masters, the rulers, warriors, and aristocrats of history, define what is good based on qualities like strength, power, and vitality. To them, what is noble and life-affirming is inherently virtuous. Weakness and submission, on the other hand, are bad. Slave morality, however, emerges from those who feel oppressed or powerless. Instead of defining morality through strength, it does so through weakness. Humility, pity, and meekness are celebrated as virtues, while power and dominance are demonized as evil. Nietzsche believed that this morality was a reaction, a way for the weak to gain psychological superiority by labeling their oppressors as immoral. Central to slave morality is the concept of resentment or ressentiment. Nietzsche described this as a deep-seated hatred and envy harbored by the weak toward the strong. Unable to confront their oppressors directly, the weak create a moral framework that vilifies their enemies and justifies their own existence. This is where Nietzsche's critique becomes particularly unsettling. He argued that much of modern morality, especially religious morality, is rooted in this slave mindset. Concepts like sin and guilt, he claimed, were tools to suppress human vitality and enforce conformity. In Nietzsche's view, slave morality stifles creativity, independence, and the will to overcome challenges. But Nietzsche was not advocating for a return to brute dominance. Instead, he called for humanity to transcend both master and slave morality. He believed in creating a new set of values that affirm life, embrace individuality, and reject the binary labels of good and evil. This is where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes deeply personal. He challenges us to examine the morality we follow. Are we adhering to values out of fear and resentment, or are we creating our own values that reflect our unique strengths and aspirations? This question leads directly to Nietzsche's concept of the will to power, the force that drives us to break free from the chains of traditional morality and forge our own path. Let's now explore what he meant by this profound and often misunderstood idea. Central to Nietzsche's philosophy is the will to power. This is the driving force behind all life, the desire to grow, to overcome, and to assert oneself. Nietzsche saw this will not as a thirst for domination over others, but as a creative energy. It's the force that compels us to evolve and strive for greatness. But here's the dark twist. The will to power often leads us into conflict, suffering, and destruction. Nietzsche didn't shy away from this. He believed it was through struggle and adversity that we could find meaning and transform ourselves. Before we conclude, let's linger on one of Nietzsche's most haunting and profound ideas. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. This statement is more than a poetic metaphor. It serves as a warning and a challenge. Nietzsche recognized that in the pursuit of truth, power, or self-transformation, we inevitably confront darkness, both in the world and within ourselves. The monsters we fight could be external forces like societal constraints, oppressive ideologies, or even outdated values. But often the greatest monsters lie within us, our fears, desires, and weaknesses. To Nietzsche, the abyss represents the unknown and the void of meaninglessness that emerges when we dismantle traditional beliefs. It's the existential terror we face when there's no clear answer, no guiding hand. To stare into the abyss is to confront this chaos and uncertainty head-on, but Nietzsche warns us of a critical danger. The longer we engage with the abyss, the more likely it is to change us. The darkness we confront can seep into our souls, transforming us into something unrecognizable, a monster of our own making. History is littered with examples of those who fought monsters only to become monstrous themselves. Revolutionary leaders driven by noble ideals often succumb to tyranny. Ideals of justice and equality have, at times, spiraled into violence and oppression. Nietzsche's warning is clear. When we challenge the structures of power, morality, or meaning, we must remain vigilant. The pursuit of truth and self-overcoming can lead us to lose ourselves, blinded by ambition or consumed by our own destructive tendencies. But this isn't a call to retreat or avoid the abyss. On the contrary, Nietzsche believed that confronting it is essential for growth. The key is self-awareness, recognizing the dangers and maintaining a strong sense of who we are. The fight against monsters must be balanced with the cultivation of inner strength and integrity. In Nietzsche's philosophy, the abyss is not merely a destructive force, it is also a mirror. When we stare into its depths, it reflects back the truths we often avoid, the raw, unfiltered essence of who we are. It forces us to confront our vulnerabilities, our contradictions, and our capacity for both good and evil. This process of self-reflection is painful but necessary. Only by facing the abyss can we truly understand ourselves and begin the journey of self-overcoming. Nietzsche believed that to rise as an Übermensch, we must first face this darkness and emerge stronger, more resilient, and more authentic. The abyss is not the end, it's a test. Will you be consumed by it, or will you use it to forge a new path? Nietzsche leaves us with a challenge to embrace the chaos, to confront the monsters, and to transform the abyss into a source of power and wisdom. And so, Nietzsche's philosophy comes full circle. The abyss, the monsters, and the darkness are all part of the journey towards self-transcendence. It is not a path for the faint-hearted, but for those who dare to seek the truth and rise above. Let us now conclude with the final lesson Nietzsche leaves us, a call to embrace life in all its complexity and rise as creators of our own destiny. Friedrich Nietzsche's teachings are not for the faint of heart. They challenge us to confront the void of meaninglessness, to embrace life's chaos, and to rise above our limitations. His philosophy is dark, yes, but also profoundly empowering. Nietzsche believed that in facing life's hardest truths, we could find the strength to create our own meaning and become something greater. So, what will you do with Nietzsche's challenge? Will you embrace the eternal recurrence? Will you rise as an Übermensch? The choice, as always, is yours. Thank you for joining us on The Hidden Void. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more journeys into the unknown.